So hello guys, hope you are doing well. My name is Ahmed, and in today's lecture we are going to discuss about the AP Biology Olympiad topic if you are taking it. So this year there will be three systems which will be there: skin, muscles and bone. So in today's lecture we will be discussing briefly about the integumentary system, also known as skin chapter. So as you can see in the screen, I have took these resources from the two books. They are also available in the OpenStax as well. The one is the CK12 Biology reference book, specifically from the Life Sciences, and the another one is the A Anatomy and Physiology second edition book, which in OpenStax we call it as AP Biology. AP Bio second edition book. And I have also added some of the few topics from the medical books as well, which will give you an extra edge to solve the questions and to understand the concepts more easily. Okay, so firstly, what is the integumentary system? So whatever which we will discuss about the skin, hairs and nails, they are coming in a integumentary system, aka the skin system. Okay, so integumentary system, they will be having the three components. The one is the skin, another is they are the hairs and the nails. Okay, so this we know that heart is an organ, liver is an organ, kidney is an organ, intestine, brain, even like the few other rest of the organs as well. So the one of the largest organ of our body is the skin. Don't forget that. Okay. So now let's discuss about the important functions of the skin. So we know that the first function is the barrier. So what does the barrier mean? Like the skin, it works as a primary protection from the outside organisms such as the bacteria, viruses and rest of the other microbes, and this will prevent those microbes to get enter in our body directly. So they are the primary defense of our body, right? So what they will do first, the one thing is they are protecting they are protecting the from organisms. Okay, and the next thing is they are stopping the water from entering or leaving the body, right? So what this is the one of the function. The second is the controlling of the body temperature. We also call it as homeostasis. Homeostasis. So what happens in the homeostasis, right? So for example, suppose if you are going in a very sunny afternoon, right, and suddenly you start perspirating, you start having a sweat out on your forehead and over your armpits and hands. So why? It's because of the your inside body temperature, it gets so much higher, so that in order to compensate, your body will provide your body will start making the sweat. It will and these sweat, they will be this will be responsible for the cooling the body. And that because the normal temperature of our body is the 37.6 degree Celsius. Our body needs to maintain it. So for example, if you go in a sunny afternoon and your body temperature gets higher, your body will start removing out the water, and that will be helping as a cooling mechanism. In the same way, if you are in a very if you are living in a cold weather such as Russia, so over there our body temperature gets much lesser. So in order to compensate, the body we will start shivering. So the shivering is like we are producing the heat by our own. Okay, the third is the nerve sensations. Now there are the special nerve endings which are present in our skin. We will be learning in our few next slides. Okay, what are the special senses, right? So the nerve sensations such as the heat, pressure, cold, and pain. Yeah. So for example, in a heat, for example, if you suppose like if you go in a kitchen, right, and you touch a hot object, hot oven, or like hot pan, and suddenly you sense it, and you in within a 1 second or much lesser than that, your hand starts pulling out, and it is involuntary. Why it happened? Because our skin have a special nerve endings which are directly reaching to the brain, and they are responsible for sensing out the each and even the smallest amount of the vibrations of the microbes or of the insects which is crawling. We can sense it, right? So this is the third function. Now the fourth function is the protection from the UVB rays. Why UVB rays? Because this UVB rays, they are normally, they are responsible for damaging our skin. We know, like for example, if you go in a sunny afternoon, your mom would be saying that, yeah, before going out, please use this some SPF sunscreen, right? So that will be protecting you, not more, but like at least it is like much, it is sufficient enough to protect you from the sun rays, from the harmful UV rays, right? So our skin is also helping us. So what it is doing, it is acting as a sunblock, and there is a pigment in our skin which we call it as a melanin, which we call it as melanin. This melanin, it will block the sunlight from getting into the deeper layers of the skin cells, and it will help us to prevent the damage of the skin from the sunlight. Not from sunlight, typically from the UVB rays. So 5 functions are there. The one is the barrier, which we did. Second is the controlling of the body temperature. Third is the nerve sensations, and the fourth is the protection from the UVB rays, right? So now let's get much slightly deeper, because now it will be of Olympiad's level. Okay, so integumentary system. Basically, our skin, it has 3 layers: epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. Epidermis, it's over here. It looks like this. Dermis is over here, and subcutaneous fat, which we also call it as hypodermis. So these are the 3 layers of the skin. Okay, now let's make a diagram by ourselves, so we'll have an idea about it. So let's say I will take this cross section. I'm taking this small cross section of this forearm, and we'll draw it like this. This is the epidermis. This is the dermis. Okay, so the first layer of the skin, which is present over here, is the epidermis. This is the dermis layer, and this is the hypodermis. Basically, whatever the skin which is present outside of the body, which you can see over here, this is the epidermis layer. You can see this epidermis layer. Inside our epidermis layer, there are blood vessels which are present, and inside that there are the fats which are present. Okay, so just like this one, the skin which you can see on the outside, this is the epidermis layer. Just below that, this is the dermis layer, and all these fats, the yellow stuffs which you can see, is the fats, which we also call it as hypodermis. Now let's get one by one into that. What is epidermis? Okay, so epidermis, it is the outermost layer which I had discussed earlier. Now the function is for the protection and for the waterproofing of the skin. It will it will not allow the microbes, and it will not allow the water to get inside of our skin directly. Okay, now the one more important thing which you need to remember is that the pigment which is responsible for providing the color of the skin, is present in the epidermis. And the next thing you need to remember is the blood vessels, that there are no blood vessels are present in the epidermis. So we know that every cell, right? For example, if this is a cell over here, so every cell is needing some amount of nutrition, right? But I have told you that in epidermis there are no blood vessels. So the question arises that how does this epidermis they will get their nutrition from, right? So in this again, so for example, if there are cells are over here, and here is the blood vessels which are going. So now there will be a process which is there in our body which we call it as diffusion. So for example, suppose there are nutrition, for example, let's say sodium, yeah, for example, sodium wants to enter over here. So how they will go? They will go like from this to this. They're going inside the epidermal cells via a process which we call it as diffusion. Okay, what is this process called? Diffusion. It is like, for example, the diffusion is basically just the transfer of ions from the from a specific channels. So there are various type of diffusion. We won't go so much deeper into that because our discussion is mostly for the skin right now. So this is the thing you need to remember. Okay, there are no blood vessels which are present in the epidermis, so the nutrition is given by the diffusion, and there is a melanin which is present. And what does this melanin do? They are responsible for giving the skin and hair color. Okay, now let's get into the dermis part. So dermis is, of course, it is present beneath the epidermis. Okay, we had discussed, we know. So now what is dermis is made up of? It is made up of connective tissues. And what is present inside the dermis? There are hair follicles, sweat glands, oil glands, blood vessels, and nerve endings, right? And the function is for the touch, pressure, heat, and pain. Yeah. So from the dermis part, so for example, if there is a suppose, you know, like there are small microbes or small ants are there, which maybe sometime if they are crawling over here, you might not notice. But suppose if there is a huge microbe or huge insect is crawling around, then only you can feel it. Because of the sensations. So for example, if I press it like very little, maybe you won't be able to feel it right now, right? But for example, if I press too hard, yes, you might feel, yeah, there is a sense of some kind of pressure. The reason is that no sensations are present over the dermis layer. Okay, so for example, over here, just like this, yeah, these are the hair follicle which are present in the dermis. Let's draw one diagram so that we will have an idea about it. These are the nerve sensations which are present over here. These are the hair follicles which are present over in the dermis part. These are the sweat sebaceous glands, we call it as oil glands over here. And another one is the sweat glands. Yeah, and this is the dermis part. So over here, these are the nose, hair follicles, sebaceous glands, and these are the oil sweat glands. Okay, and what is this made up of? What is the dermis made up of? It is made up of the connective tissues. Okay, and yeah, over the here we also forget this one, the blood vessels. Blood vessels are also present in the dermis part. Now, what is the difference between the oil glands over here? These are the sebaceous glands, which we also call it as oil glands. And what is the difference between the sweat glands? Okay, so now we will discuss about it. So oil glands, they are also called as a sebaceous glands. What they're also called as, they are also called it as a sebaceous glands. In Olympiad's exam, they are asking about the sebaceous gland. They are writing it as sebaceous glands because it is hard to remember, so you need to memorize that. And they are what they are doing basically, they are making the skin moist and prevent the growth of the bacteria in the skin. Basically, in the oil glands, there is a substance called sebum. So this sebum, they have specific those kind of acidic substances which are helpful to prevent or to damage the cell wall of bacteria, and that's how the bacteria will not grow on our skin, and they will prevent to go inside, right? So the another question is, does our oil have any odor, right? So normal answer is no, we don't have. But if there is a bacteria presence, then yeah. Okay, now the famous question which is asked in every Olympiad exam, in medical exams, and even in high school exams is the why does this acne happens in the teenagers? What are the acne at first? So these are the acnes, right? Small nodule kind of thing, small red pop-ups which happen in the face of the teenagers. So the one question is, why does it happen, right? So basically it happens in the adolescence age, or we call it a teenager age. And one of the reason is the increase in the sebum content. The oil content in those teenager gets increased so much that the sebaceous glands which are present over here, it gets too much of production that it will clogged off. It will start blocking of the glands over here, and that will result into the bacteria entering inside the hair follicles. Okay, so let's understand the mechanism. Okay, so let's say we'll draw a hair like this over here. Yeah, so let's focus on this part. Okay, this is a sebaceous gland. Okay, and this sebaceous gland, it have a sebum, or we call as a oil. Now ideally what happens is, this oil, it is going out of the skin and it is present over here. It goes outside of our hair follicle. For example, even if we do exercise, you might feel that your hair gets slightly wet. That is the oil sebum, the oil which is present over here. Okay, so this is a normal amount. Now in teenagers, the hormonal levels of their brain, it gets so much of in more amounts that the sebum or the oil content gets too much, and that will result in the clogging of the sebum. And this is a perfect place, this area, it will get dry, right, and warm, and this is an ideal place for the bacteria to come. And that's how the bacteria will come, and bacteria will go inside, it will come over here, and it will releases out their stuffs, and that will result into the this kind of pop outs, right? So once these teenagers, they come into their normal adulthood, so these all the sebum content gets decrease, and now the everything gets normal, and then after some time they will not have this kind of acne later on. Okay, now this was about the sebaceous glands. Now what is the function of the sweat glands? So basically the sweat glands, they produces the sweat. Okay, and where is the sweat releases? The sweat, so you can see over here, this is a one of the example of the eccrine sweat gland. They are coming outside, yeah, from the pores, right? These are the small pores which you can see over here. So from the pores, so they releases the sweat from the skin pores, and they are located all over the body. Basically the function is the cooling of the body, or we call it as a evaporation, right? And what they releases out, they will releases two things: ammonia, and there is a sweats, right, the water content basically. And the ammonia, increase in ammonia is the reason that why we stink. Okay, so this was about the sebaceous glands, and this was about the sweat glands. So now you know the difference perfectly. Now the last thing is the hypodermis. So basically in the hypodermis, it is a subcutaneous layer. Subcutaneous means the layer which have fat. Okay, layer which have fat. And this is also made up of connective tissue. Basically these are those kind of tissue which are responsible for the joining of the skin, or for the integrity of the skin, to make the skin intact like this. Okay, so these are the so this is also made up of loose connective tissue. Okay, and it contains the collagen and elastin fibers for the flexibility. So this is the one of the reason that, for example, if I will pull off the skin, like my skin like this, it will come back to the normal. That is because of the elastin fibers. That is because of the elastin fibers which are responsible for the flexibility and the support of the skin. Collagen is responsible for giving out the for preventing the wrinkles. For example, in our skin, in adults, in teenagers, we don't have any wrinkles, but in old people, like our grandfather, grandma, those guys, they have the decreased amount of collagen, and that is the reason that they will have the wrinkles around it. So one of the thing is done that the hypodermis is responsible for the providing the structure and the function. The second is the functions such as the insulation. Insulation means the fat storage, and they will regulate the helping in the body temperature in homeostasis, right? Second is the energy storage. We all know that, for example, even if we are hungry for even 11 to 12 hours, we can even go for like more than that. The reason is that our hypodermis, they have the some amount of fat storage, and they are using as a energy. Third is the shock absorption, of course, that they are as a cushions of our body. So the more amount of fat you have, the more, suppose the obese person, they have the more amount of shock absorption, right? And the fourth one is the anchoring of the skin. They are responsible for the anchoring of the muscles of our body, bones of our body to the uh, like they're wrapping up, right? The third is the cell types. So for example, what are present over there? Adipocytes, right? They are responsible for, they are the fat cells, okay? Fibroblast, they are the collagen cells, elastin cells, and macrophages, they are the immune cells. So three cells we discussed, sir: the fat cells, collagen, and elastin producing cells, such as we call it as fibroblast. And the third is the macrophages, which we call as a immune cell. So this was my trial video. Hope you like it. I have covered AP Biology Olympiad topic of 2025, covering the skin integumentary system, and this is the only brief video, one of the topic which is there in the our AP Biology Olympiads. Thank you.